Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha. So now I shall explain the newborn skull and the fontanelles that are present within it and the surfaces. So a very striking feature of the newborn skull is that it has a very large cranium compared to the facial skeleton. So the facial skeleton is just this portion that is seen in the anterior surface of the face. That is the front side of the face. That's called the facial skeleton. The ears are all included. Whereas the cranium, the part that holds the brain behind, exclusive of the mandible, is called the cranium. So the cranium is larger and the facial skeleton is smaller relatively in a newborn. So that's a very striking feature. They're like this, somewhat like this. So I drawn it like some sort of an alien dinosaur, but it's not like that. Not too much of this word, but of course the cranium is a little larger, and you see the parietal bone is larger so that the brain gets enough space to grow. And along with this, we have many more features. The presence of fontanelles. It's a membranous structure that a jelly-like membranous structure that's present within the the suture of the bones. In an adult skull, we have, or in a child's skull after the age of 2 years, we have just a suture, a normal suture like a sagittal suture or lambdoid suture. But in an infant skull, we have fontanelles that replace the that are ancestors for the sutures. So the sutures are just tiny lines that show that there were fontanelles there before, whereas the fontanelles are the preceders of the sutures. So today we're going to see the newborn skull, its anatomy and the fontanelles. For a detailed video about the skull, I shall make it later, and because it's a very advanced topic and that has 5 sections, norma frontalis, norma basalis, norma lateralis, etc., norma occipitalis. So we have various sections in that, and that needs a lot of attention. So I'll make that video another day. And now we're going to see just a few striking features of the newborn skull. So here is the basic anterior view of the newborn skull. My drawings are not perfect, as usual. So this is the frontal bone, and this is the other side of the frontal bone. We have the orbit here, and the nasal bone area here. You have the mandible and the mouth opening here, and a few bones, etc. Basically, the facial skeleton in a newborn is made up of a network of small and little bones, whereas the cranium, totally the body of a newborn is present with a lot of bones. It presents with a lot of bones, and they get fused later, and then you get the adult skull, which has relatively lesser bones, but more stronger, durable, and larger bones.
Bhaiya, you have drawn the skull like a beggar who has not eaten for many days.
Okay, no problem. This is the anterior surface, and now we see the lateral surface. The lateral view will show what I explained in the beginning, that the cranium is larger than the facial skeleton. Again, this is looking like a dinosaur. I'm really sorry, but it's just not supposed to be too long. It's supposed to be a little shorter. So this is how it's supposed to be, and the superior view. And from here you can see the fontanelle. This is called the fontanelle. This is called the anterior fontanelle. This is the posterior fontanelle. And you have lateral fontanelles here. You have the mastoid fontanelles, and you also have the sphenoidal fontanelles. And these are the fontanelles that you can see from here. The lateral view, you can see the sphenoidal fontanelles over here, and the mastoid fontanelles at the back, posterior. They're called posterolateral fontanelles. These are called the anterolateral fontanelles. I shall explain these later. The cranium is large, the facial skeleton is small. The maxilla and mandible aren't completely developed. The reason why, just guess it, infants don't have well-developed teeth. No teeth. So the maxilla and mandible need not be that developed as they are supposed to be in a child after the age of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or an adult. Now, the tympanic membrane. If you had seen my video on the ear, I've made 3 videos on the ear: the external ear, the middle ear, and the internal ear. So the tympanic membrane Okay, go back up there. The tympanic membrane or the eardrum is closer to its surface as the bony the bony two-third is not developed entirely. It's somewhat like cartilaginous bone, whereas in an adult we have 1/3 of cartilage and 2/3 of bone. That's not the case with infants. And the tympanic cavity and the external auditory meatus or EAM is not as developed as that of an adult. So that's why you have tympanic membrane closer to the surface, and that's why we shouldn't insert the ear speculum or any of these gadgets too much inside the ear of a newborn baby, as that can cause damage. It should be inserted with care. Earbuds shouldn't be used because they can be worse. Actually, earbuds are bad for even normal people, and babies, it's worse. The facial nerve runs superficially, just close to the ear over here. So it's not covered by any mass like the mastoid process. Actually, the facial nerve runs behind the mastoid process, but the mastoid process isn't present, or it is not fully developed in a newborn. So the facial nerve runs directly behind it. So these are the special features and underdevelopments of an infant's skull. And now we're going to discuss the anatomy of this skull. I'm showing you the lateral view. This is the frontal bone. You can see it here. The front part, I've colored it in grey. We have the parietal bone in the orange color. And we have the anterior fontanel connecting, this anterior fontanel, it's connecting to the sphenoidal fontanel here.
Colored purple?
Yeah. The sphenoidal fontanel is connecting to the mastoid fontanel, that is just behind the ear. And the mastoid fontanel connects to the posterior fontanel, that is the posterior quadrant of the skull. And the mastoid fontanel continues below to reach the norma basalis view. And this is basically the skull and fontanels. We have the lambdoid suture over here, and we have the nasal bone here. I have not colored it to keep it separate from the others. This is the orbit. This is also not colored. This is zygomatic bone here. This is the maxilla, and this is the mandible. Yes, this is the mandible, as you can see. The tympanic ring, where you have the tympanic cavity. The squamous part of the temporal bone is present right there. The squamous part and the petrous part are both present there. We have the mastoid fontanel here, and this is called the styloid process that hangs down from the temporal bone. This is the one. So we have seen the baby skull, newborn skull. Now let's see the fontanels and why they are present. So why is fontanel present in a baby? Because the baby has a brain that grows fast. So basically that's the time when the brain starts growing, from 0 to 2 years. So the reason why God has given babies this type of this fontanel is that it should permit the overlapping of bones that happens during growth, and the growth of the brain that will also happen during this period. So this will permit the growth of the brain. If it's just like a skull, then the brain will not have space to grow and there will be no flexibility. Basically, fontanels are for flexibility. And the next thing is that there are 6 fontanels totally, and let me explain them. We have 2 branches of fontanels. One is the median fontanel and the second is lateral fontanel. Medial means closer to the body, towards the body, whereas lateral means on the sides of the body or extending out of the body. So the median fontanel are 2 in number. The anterior fontanel is number 1 here. It's the most important of all, and it's present in the anterior-superior quadrant of the skull. So you can see it in the superior view as I showed you here. And it is basically a junction of the sagittal, coronal and metopic sutures. There are 3 sutures. So the sagittal, coronal and metopic sutures are all present here, and there's a junction for all the 3. And it closes after 18 to 24 months of age, that is around 1.5 years to 2 years of age. And the posterior fontanel, which is the second median fontanel, not very important, but generally fontanels are considered very important, closes by 4 months of age. That shows its importance. Basically, the Lord has planned this for us in such a way that a newborn is able to grow very well, especially a human newborn with a powerful brain. It needs a very good fontanel structure and a skull structure. So the posterior fontanel closes by 4 months of age, and now we're going to see the lateral fontanella. There are 4 in number, 2 anterolateral. Anterolateral are here, somewhere here. So these are called as sphenoidal fontanella, and we have the posterolateral fontanella. These are called the mastoid fontanella. I have shown you them here. This is the fontanella. This is the fontanella I'm talking about. It is the sphenoidal, anterolateral. This is posterolateral. This is called the mastoid fontanel. So basically, this is the structure of the fontanels. And now I shall show the anatomical importance of the fontanel. The anterior fontanel is the most important of all, and the reason why it's used mostly in diagnosing a newborn is for these following reasons. Increased intracranial tension. Basically, increase in intracranial tension means excess blood pumping or blood clots or hematoma in the brain and the surrounding areas, pia mater, dura mater, etc. and arachnoid matter. So, in these areas, if there's any increased intracranial tension, intracranial means inside the cranium or the skull bone. Don't keep coming forward like a snail, Abhigya. So, it'll be bulge and tense, somewhat bulging in a newborn. So that shows there's a problem. A depressed fontanel, a little bit depressed, shows dehydration in a newborn. So this can be easily diagnosed. And the superior sagittal sinus is right below this fontanel. I mean the anterior fontanel, that's the most important. The position of the anterior fontanel helps the the people who the nurses who deliver babies know the position of the head of the baby in the maternal pelvis. So when the baby is about to come out, the position of the baby's skull in the transition should be noted through the anterior fontanel. It helps in that procedure. So this is why the fontanels are very important, and we got an overview of the newborn skull and its different fontanels. So thank you. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Ram, Jai Shri Lakshmi. Jai Shri Krishna.
என்னம்மா நீ ரொம்ப நேரம் எடுக்கிற போ. ஓ சரி.